guys, it is Monday now. It's 2 p.m. I don't even know where to start with all of this. It has been an insane past. The whole weekend has been crazy. Like I said in my earlier videos, I live right smack in the middle of a lot of this stuff, and let me tell you, it's pretty scary. So right now, 2 p.m. on Monday, we have a curfew where I live at 4 p.m. All the businesses right now are shut down. They're all boarded up. Nothing is open. I found one grocery store that was open, went there, but they closed at noon. Everyone is completely hunkered down and braced up for potential riots tonight. I am trying to decide, honestly, whether I'm even going to stay here or not. I hope that nothing happens. I hope if people do go out, it's peaceful. I hope all of this is an overreaction. Trust me. I wish nothing more of that. I hope tomorrow I'm like, whoo! But I heard that some people might try to do some very, very scary things. And again, I don't even want to say it, but I hope that's not true. I pray that's not true. But what else is really concerning about all of this is I'm sort of talking to people that I know, like talking to friends or seeing what people are posting on social media. And there is a large group of people that seem to not understand what's actually going on here. And let me tell you what's actually going on, because I saw some of this firsthand. The other night, it was Saturday night, things started getting really bad right around me to the point where I'm in my apartment. I have some of this footage. I'm going to show it to you later after I start talking. I was really freaked out and I was really scared. So some of it, it's like, it might not make sense, but at least you can kind of see a little bit of what it was like here. It was Saturday, it was around 5 p.m. and I had been watching for a few hours about what is going on at this point it was on Fairfax, right next to the Grove. It's a huge outside mall. Those were the images you saw of like cop cars on fire, other random cars on fire in the middle of the road. People were looting the mall, like the Nordstrom, and then the street Fairfax back, people were looting like the shoe. They have a lot of like high-end shoe stores, and like Supreme is down there, and they were looting all those places and setting buildings on fire on Melrose. So it was getting ugly, and I was seeing this on TV, and I didn't feel safe at this point, especially hearing sirens right next to my house, and they were continuous. Like they didn't stop. They were all night, just continuous sirens. So I'm saying all night, I mean for a while before I left, but apparently I talked to my roommate. It was all night. So I was just kind of freaked. I got out of here. My friend picked me up. I told him to take a very specific route to avoid where the rioting was happening, and he did. But even still, it was so spread out. There were people like maybe like 2 blocks away from where I live in the streets. Those people were mostly peaceful. They were just kind of like riding their bikes up and down the street, like chanting things. They were peaceful. They were not hurting anyone or anything. And then I drive a few more blocks. Again, this is like half a mile away from where all this stuff is going down at the Grove, where you're seeing the cop cars and stuff like that. So we're driving. I'm like 3 or 4 blocks away from my house, and all of a sudden we start seeing every single business. The windows are broken in. There's graffiti, like things written on these businesses that I don't even want to say, like anarchy signs, kill the cops, F Trump, just everything you can imagine. So I start seeing this, and it just starts to break my heart. I'm like, this is my neighborhood, and this is a very liberal neighborhood at that. West Hollywood is one of the most liberal neighborhoods in the whole country. West Hollywood was founded in like 1984 to protect the rights of LGBTQ people, which is so ironic that this is a city that protects marginalized people, and then you're coming and attacking this city. And that's what it was. It was an attack. Were there peaceful protesters? Yes. Were most of them peaceful? Yes. This was an attack, and the people that were attacking were not a part of those peaceful protesters. They were not a part of the cause or the movement. This was a separate group of people that are using this movement and these protests, and they're hijacking them, and they are using this to cause complete destruction, and that's what's happening. Okay, so let me fast forward. So I'm seeing all this destruction. We're driving, right now we're by the Beverly Center in LA, and we're right past the Beverly Center at an intersection, and all of a sudden all the cars are stopped. So there's 2 cars in front of us, and then we're in the second row, and then there's people behind us. The cars are stopped. There's a huge crowd marching through, and they basically shut down the traffic. So we're stopped. We can't go anywhere. So they're coming through. And like I said, a lot of it, they're peaceful. They just have signs. And then all of a sudden, the energy shifted, and more people started coming through. And I started seeing people coming through that did not look like the normal protesters. One guy, he was this really tall, skinny guy, and he was covered from head to toe and had a pipe that was like the size of me. And there were other people there that just didn't seem to fit what was going on, and they were there, and you could tell and you could feel it. It was tense, it was scary. They were there to destroy. We had one protester early on knock on the window of the car and say, hey, you have a really nice car. You're gonna wanna get out of here. There's a lot of people right behind me, and that's not gonna be good. If you can, make a U-turn and get out of here and go the other way. Do not go this way. And we're like, okay. So we try to make a U-turn and realize we are stuck in there. There's cars behind us. There's stuff on the side. There's basically nowhere to go. We're sitting ducks. And then all of a sudden the crowd goes from a few people here and there to we are surrounded by hundreds of people. If I were to roll down my window, I could put my hand out and touch these people. Again, most of them peaceful, but there were enough of them that were not. And it was terrifying. Absolutely terrifying, because you knew this was not about BLM. This particular crowd that we were in the middle of, a big handful of those people, it was not about that. It was about destroy anything or anyone that I want to destroy. That's all it was. Thankfully, the crowd eventually dissipated and we were able to drive through. I saw cops on the other side, but the scariest part about all of this is there were no cops to be seen anywhere. There are people destroying stuff. There are people breaking windows. There's people spray painting. There's people walking around with like giant weapons. And they're not just standing there, saying, I have a right to bear arms. They're not just standing there with their things that they legally have, carrying them in a legally way, holding their stance, just saying, I'm here to protect myself. These are people that are outward, no, I want to attack you. That was the feeling you got. That is what's different. So that's what I saw. And then I went and cleaned up yesterday. I went and cleaned up Fairfax and Melrose and a few places in West Hollywood with a bunch of other citizens that love their neighborhood. And that was really cool. And just seeing the destruction. And I'm going off on a tangent, so if I already said this, I apologize. But one of the things that really broke my heart is I'm seeing like glass in the street, things destroyed, things defaced, and small businesses destroyed. And there's a nursing home right in the middle of all this destruction, and in the window it says, we have sick and elderly up here, please leave us alone. And to see that in your own neighborhood, and to have people that are defending some of these things, saying that they're caring about lives when the freaking elderly can barely defend themselves. I mean, that's so freaking sad. And this isn't about the protesters again. These are about the people that are going in and hijacking these protests. That's what this is about. There are people that are hijacking these protests that want to destroy America. And that's the truth of the matter. And it's interesting. I had conversations with a few people today and last night. And I have friends that are very liberal and that are online, and they're still promoting some of these protests for people to get together. They're promoting for people to get together, and one of these locations is actually a few blocks from my house, and I'm hearing threats of really scary stuff, but they seem to be very misguided on the coverage of these protests. I keep seeing them say, but no, there are peaceful protesters, or what's a little destruction for lives? Well, first of all, there are lives that have been lost in this. A black police officer lost his life. Several other people have lost their lives. I just can't think of their names right now, but all you have to do is look it up. It's just Google it. A disabled woman in a wheelchair who is trying to defend a business was beaten senseless and had her purse stolen. Another small woman who was defending her small business was beaten right in front of her husband. He couldn't even protect her. She was beaten by a mob of men in front of her husband. So to say that you care about lives and you're still encouraging this, that doesn't hold water. I'm sorry, because a lot of innocent people are getting hurt. People that are minorities, people that are disabled are getting hurt in all this stuff. But I'm still seeing a lot of okay, so I talk to some of these people, and I don't say what my beliefs are, because the truth of the matter is most people that live around where I live are very liberal, so I keep my beliefs a lot of times to myself, just honestly, because I just don't feel like being called names or getting in arguments all the time. And I also recognize that most people do not have a very educated sense of what is going on, being that our mainstream media perpetuates lies, and I have proof of that. So I'm talking to some people, and my take on all of the riots is, it's so sad. This message is being stolen from the good people that are out there and that care and that are trying to make change. And there are a lot of those people, and I'm speaking out for those people too, because they have a right to protest. I am all for their right to protest. I will go and protest with them, but it's these people that are hijacking their message and people that are hijacking their protest and making it look bad. And those are two separate categories of people. But it's interesting because I don't know if they're watching CNN. I don't know what CNN is saying. I haven't been paying too much attention to them, but people still seem to think that the police are out of line for having curfews or for arresting people, and they're promoting this defunding of police, and they're promoting like all this crap. And I'm like, people that live in my city that's being destroyed, people that the cops are keeping safe right now, are saying we should defund the police, or no, police are bad, or why aren't you paying attention to the good protesters? Because there are people right now that want to destroy your country. They have no other goal in mind other than anarchy and completely destroying your country. And who's going to save you at the end of the day? Who's going to be there for you? Those police officers, those military people, they are protecting you right now. But it's weird. I was talking. I'm sorry. I'm rambling throughout this whole thing. These are weird times. So thank you if you're still watching this. But I would talk to people that they were talking about the riots and this and that, and police are being mean to people. And then I'm talking to two people about this, and then I just mentioned that I went and cleaned up yesterday, and I was like, yeah, they destroyed a few buildings, and they were like, huh? Yeah, buildings were destroyed, huh? I talked to two people who had very heightened and emotional opinions about the protests and didn't even know that anything in their own city got destroyed by the protests. What? How do you not know what's going on? It's right out there in your own city. It's literally right outside. Places that are destroyed are right outside. And there are some people that are so oblivious. And I don't know if it's the news they're watching. I don't know how they're getting their news or how they're getting their information. But this is scary. And we, as a nation, as a community, need to wake up. People are using these types of movements to move their agendas along, and there are a group of people, and they are funded, and they are organized, that all they want to do is destroy America. And they're using people's ignorance, they're using people's anger and their hurt, and they're using these movements, and they are using it to forward whatever it is that they're trying to do. And it's really sad. It's really, really sad, because all of us think what has happened is absolutely horrifying. Even George Floyd's brother came out today and said, this rioting has got to stop. This is not honoring George Floyd. This is not honoring my brother. This is not what he would have wanted. So let's stop encouraging the rioting and things like that. Let's stop justifying these behaviors as being, oh, well, they're just, if you had a kid that was upset about something, would you think he was justified in destroying your home and spray painting your home? Would you just be like, oh, he just had no? That kid would be punished. You would reprimand him. That is not allowed. You can't just allow anarchy. That's opening the doors for even more violence. Yeah, it might just seem like they're looting a store. It might just seem like they're breaking a window. It might just seem like they're spray painting. But the more people that are doing that, the more you are opening up for situations that are creating even more violence, even more unrest, even more arguments, and even more division. That's what you're doing. And that, sorry, I'm seeing this stuff firsthand, and when you see it firsthand, it's different. And they're taking away from the actual message that these protests started. And it's really sad. Were there peaceful protests? Absolutely there were. Were the majority of people protesting peaceful people? Absolutely. But there are enough people that are doing damage to do some serious damage. And I heard some really scary things that could go down. And I pray that they don't. I pray that the police and the National Guard are able to take control of this situation. I pray that people stay home and stay safe. I pray that the criminals already got what they want and just chill out, because this is gonna go nowhere good. And I pray that people wake up. It is crazy how passionate people are about things that they don't really know about. You're so passionate about the protests, you don't know that there was destruction 4 blocks from your home from those protests. Wow. And I bring this up too because that's not an isolated thing. I know a lot of people who are very passionate about things, but they don't really, I'm like, did you watch the news? You must not have turned on your TV today. What? Huh? Crazy. Okay, that was my little rant today. I hope that made sense. Okay, I'm gonna show you some videos of the other night, and you're gonna see one of those videos. I took it when we were in the car. You see things kind of dissipating. Oh, and another funny thing, I didn't even realize this. So we're sitting here, all these people are surrounding us. We're like, what's gonna happen? We're blasting Fox News in the car. Didn't even realize it till I looked at that video after. I'm like, that's just great. Just great. And guess who's talking on Fox News? Trump. To make it even worse, what is the worst thing I could have had on, and the worst person I could have been listening to? And also, I completely agree with the protest. What happened was wrong. I loved seeing the kids, and I say kids because a lot of them were like in their early 20s. I love seeing them out protest. I would have gone with them, but I had a feeling this was going to turn bad, and it did. Okay, so you'll watch that video and you'll see Fox News. But I just want to say the video, I was a little shaky because I was freaked out. This video, you're going to see a few people like pass by the car, and it looks like they're kind of far away from us. This does not do what we saw, what we went through, justice. I didn't have my phone out when it was really tense because I was absolutely terrified. It was scary, and there was no one to protect you, no cops in sight, and you're around people that just wanted to destroy stuff. And these are the type of people that were saying, kill the rich, eat the rich. And then I'm sitting there in, of course, a nice car with my friend. It's my friend's nice car. What was I gonna say? Okay, so that video, I'm gonna say that I was scared, and you're gonna look at the video and be like, what? Nothing was really going on, because that was when the crowd dissipated and there was just a few those were the scragglers. Those were the scragglers that were walking behind walked, because when it was really tense, I did not want to get out my phone. I just didn't want to do anything to call attention to myself. I just wanted it to be over. And you could tell even the people in the other cars around us were pretty freaked out. So I'll cut some of those videos and show them, and you can see me after. I think I talked for a little bit. Okay, all right. Shoot. Life. Okay, that's everything for right now. I'll probably talk to you later. I might give an update on what's happening tonight. Hopefully it stays quiet and people are safe. I thought about leaving tonight, but I don't know. We'll see. Okay, bye. Okay, I don't know if you can hear behind me. I'm standing right by my window in my apartment. All you can hear right now are sirens. I live in LA. They're really bad riots going on about a mile from my house. I saw the footage. There's cop cars on fire, like other people's cars that are vandalized, and people are jumping on them. There's spray paint. They're breaking into businesses and destroying businesses. I'm a little freaked out, so I'm actually going to stay with a friend. Right now they have a curfew of, I believe, 8 p.m. I don't know if they're going to be able to enforce that. So just giving you an update. Okay, sounds like the siren stopped a little bit. I was fine until I heard them. They were going on for like minutes and minutes straight. But they...
You gotta like come and menace. Healing, not hatred, justice, not chaos.
Hi. So yes, my face looks crazy. That was absolutely terrifying. I'm at my friend's house now. When he came to pick me up, I told him to go a certain way to try to avoid the protesters and the rioters. But the crowd was just so large and there are so many people that it was spilling on